Hi everyone, I'm Robin from CookingMexicanRecipes.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make my melon avocado salsa. Now this is a fruit salsa made with cantaloupe, avocado, some tomatoes, I've got onions in there, jalapeños, and a lot of other little goodies that I'll tell you about in just a minute. Now this recipe goes great with grilled fish or chicken or simply just by itself with a chip. So don't go away, I'll be right back to tell you all about the ingredients. So if you're ready to try a fruit salsa, let's get started and go over our ingredients. So here we go. We're going to need cantaloupe. Get a nice ripe one if you can find one, and I'm hoping that that's nice and sweet. We'll need a couple of avocados. Make sure that they're firm, but yet they give when you push your thumb into them so that you know that you'll be able to cut the whole thing up and it'll be nice and ripe. Here I have one yellow bell pepper that I've already finely diced it up for you. You can see that there. And we'll need some tomatoes. We're going to be putting about 4 tomatoes into this. Now I'm using, these are my tomatoes that I grow in the backyard. These are Better Boys. The recipe originally calls for Roma tomatoes because they're less juicy, but I opted to go with the ones that are grown in the yard because they taste so wonderful. Now here I've got some fresh garlic, and I minced this up already using a knife as opposed to using a garlic press because I wanted to not have the juice. The garlic press tends to make the juice come out of the garlic, and I wanted it nice and more separated so that it will spread around the recipe real easily. Now this is a jalapeno that I've already diced up, and what we want to do here with the jalapeno is I'm going to cut off the end of the jalapeno first, and be sure and not touch your face when you're handling this, by the way. Anyway, so cut off the end and then cut lengthwise, cut your jalapeno in half and then do it again so you have quarters. And then if you want to, you can remove the seeds and the membrane, which is where all the heat is. And so once you do that, of course, if you like it hot, then just leave those in, but I'm removing them, and then just make some nice long cuts, thin long cuts through your jalapeno so that when you cut it in the opposite direction, you're going to get a very fine dice really quick and easy. Then we're going to need some red onion. I finally diced this as well, and we'll need some salt, a little bit of salt, and we're going to use the juice from the lime, and we're going to need a little bit of cilantro. So that's it. So I'm going to start off by cutting up the cantaloupe. And I'll probably cut the avocados last just because they tend to want to brown up. So I'm just going to cut, I'm going to need probably about, maybe half of this. We'll see how that goes. So remove all your seeds. Alright, so once we've got the seeds out of the way, I like to just cut strips like this because I want my pieces to be somewhat in that size there and that thickness. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to cut out the cantaloupe, cut it away from the rind there. And now you want to get your chunks. So probably the best way to do this is just to go like this around. Okay, now these are still too big, so I'm going to cut them again, probably like that. So you see, this is a good size. You don't want to be too big so that you get a mouthful of cantaloupe. You want to be able to get a lot of things in there. So I'm going to go through and cut all my pieces up. Now I'm placing everything into a large bowl so that I have plenty of room to toss everything up. Okay, so once you've got a couple of cups of cubed cantaloupe, that's what you need. All right, and just pour it into your large bowl. Now we can move on to our tomatoes. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these in half. And you just want to figure out the best way to make little cubes. Look at these tomatoes, they look fantastic. They are so bright red and just full of flavor. I ate one actually right after I picked it. So I'm going to make some slices and then I'm just going to cube this up. So make sure you can see here, just you're just going to make cuts, little cubes, best you can. Now again, these are going to be a little juicier than a Roma tomato would be, but we can always drain out the juice. So I'm placing these in my bowl, and I'm just going to continue cubing up the tomatoes. So now I've got all of the tomatoes in there, and now we can just add our yellow bell peppers to the mix. So I'm going to toss those in the bowl, and I'll tell you the colors are phenomenal here. We've got bright red, bright orange, and yellow so far. Look at that. It looks fabulous. Okay, so now I'm going to add the onions. Now we'll add a little purple color to this. Sprinkle that around. And the jalapeno, add a little green. I'll tell you, this is quite the colorful thing. It's beautiful. And the garlic, I'm going to toss that in. I'm going to try and sprinkle that around a little bit so that, like I said, those pieces, they don't stick together when you chop them with a knife. But when you do with a garlic press, it's like one big clump of garlic. So that's why, like I said, I did it with the knife. All right, so now we're ready to move into our avocado. Now guys, feel free to add or delete any ingredients you're not crazy about. I mean, that's the beauty of a salsa. You know, you can add or subtract anything you like, or substitute things. Look at these avocados, they're beautiful. Perfect. Now the way I'm going to cut these is I'm going to just make some slices in here so that I'll have my chunks already formed for me, my little cubes. So I'm just not cutting through the skin on the back side. Now I'll go the other direction. Now all you have to do is you can try and peel back. Of course it broke off there. Peel back the skin, and the little chunks, they just pop out just like that. And all we gotta do is toss them in the bowl. These tend to want to stick together, so I like to sprinkle them around. So I take my thumb, sometimes it sticks, but I take my thumb and I just kind of work my way underneath between the avocado and the skin, and they just pop out. And so you want to break them up with your fingers. Can't wait to dig into this. Now my recipe calls for 2 avocados. If you don't want to do 2, you don't have to, you know. You can do 1 if you like, but it really adds a nice creamy texture to your salsa, which is really nice. Now I'm going to add the lime juice. That'll help keep the avocado from turning brown. And I'm just going to squeeze this over it and give it a nice citrusy flavor. And I'm going to squeeze both halves in there. Now the only last 2 things we have left to add are the cilantro, which I'm just going to take a little bit of this here, and I'm going to cut off a little, and then I'm just going to chop it up. And again, some people don't like cilantro, so you know, you don't have to have it in there. You can take it out and leave it out if you like. There we go. We'll sprinkle that in. And the last thing is a little bit of salt. You don't need too much here. Everything has its own good flavors. But I am going to season it a little bit to help bring out some of those flavors. And now we toss. Now you're going to want to toss this gently, just because the avocado's in there and it smashes up easy. So that's why I'm using 2 spoons, and I'm just going to lift, you know, place them underneath and just lift. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? The colors in here are just amazing. So just toss gently. After you toss it, you might want to add just a little bit more salt. Then we've mixed it in a little bit. So I'm going to do that a little bit more. And that's all there is to it, folks. This is it. It's delicious. It smells incredible. And I can't wait to dig in. So that's all there is to it, guys. It's really simple to make. It does take a little time to chop everything up into nice little cubes, but it's definitely worth it. So I'm going to go ahead and serve some of this up. It looks, smells amazing. And it's so refreshing, you know? So let me give this a little taste. The flavors are amazing. That is so delightful, refreshing. You can taste the lime, the cantaloupe, the avocado. I mean, it's really good. I'm going to be serving this up with my dinner tonight, I can tell you that. Delicious. And it makes a fair amount. As you saw, the bowl was pretty darn full. So you can always cut back, make a smaller amount if you just need a little bit. So no problem there. But guys, I hope you'll give this a try. It is truly delicious. It's going to go great with, all by itself with some chips or with fish or chicken, and it's really good. So thanks for spending time with me today, and we'll see you in the next video. All right, don't forget to subscribe. All right, thanks. Bye. Today I'm going to show you how to make pork enchiladas with verde sour cream sauce. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to roast the pork in the oven for